welcome everybody to this episode of Backstaged the series. I am the co-creator, writer, and director of Upstaged the series, and am very thrilled today to have with me award-winning actress Shannon Mayhall, legendary star of stage and screen. Shannon, how you doing?
Good. I'm a legend on the screen because of you.
Well, that's not entirely true. We were both legends of the screen before we did this.
That's right.
Thanks to a little movie called
Something Marina? The Marina?
Yes, Sunset Marine.
Yeah. For me in that film it involved a sandwich. This was my turn to have a sandwich.
Yes. Shannon and I appeared. Well, first we appeared on stage together in MCC's production of The Man Who Came to Dinner.
That's where it all started.
Yeah, that's where the whole thing started. And then I was trying to think, I don't think we worked again until that movie, which was unconscionably later, I think.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, and then since then, we have not worked together again until
Yeah, what's that about?
Until Upstaged the series, and then it was like we were seeing each other all the time after that,
right.
Because we were in a show right after that too, and
it's wonderful Moon Over Buffalo,
and that I think that was because I think I may have done Addams Family after that, and then Mamma Mia. But that was one of my last shows, but not so with you. You're well known for being very active in theater across Northern Illinois. How does it feel to not be on stage?
It's awful. There's kind of an emptiness about it, you know. I mean, not only am I not working my day job, but I'm not being filled artistically by there not being any theater, not even being able to see my friends do theater. It's awful. It's just, I don't know.
There's a big hole.
Yeah, it's like I've lost a limb, you know. It's just proved to me how essential it is for me anyway to have it in my life. And doing some virtual play readings with some friends, and in the beginning of this whole thing, that it was wonderful. I loved it. It kind of, okay, this will get me through. But after a while, it just didn't. It was the whole point of theater is that you're live and in person, and that you're physically close to the people you're working with and to an audience. And I miss it terribly.
Yeah, and for me, I've done a couple of those readings as well. And to me, it's like when you get cast in a play, and this is just for the people who may be listening in. One of the first times you get together with the cast is for the read-through, which is the whole cast sits around a table and reads the script.
Yeah.
And there's minimal to no character development.
Right.
You haven't had a chance to think about the lines and what they mean. You're just reading the script. And that's the feeling I get whenever I do these line readings, because generally you have, 6 to 8 weeks of rehearsals where you're developing your character and you're analyzing the script and you're really learning to live and deliver lines through somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
But that's hard to do it's hard to do over Zoom, and it's hard to do when, let's face it, how much of the time do you get the script in advance enough and then do the follow-up work to get off book and be the character by the time you do the reading?
Yeah. Oh, no. That just doesn't happen. It's pretty, like you said, it's like a first table read, a first through, and then you let it go, and you don't get to work on it.
Right. And if you do think about it, well, it's too late. You're not going to see that group of people for that particular reading again. So it's
sad.
Yeah, it's very sad. Which is why I was so thrilled when the Woodstock Opera House contacted me to tell me that they were looking for content for their website, since they also had to cancel all of the shows and all the performances they'd been planning, and asked if they could run episodes of Upstaged, the series, on their website, which was filmed at the Woodstock Opera House. So that's and so I said sure, and then they asked Betsy Cosgray, asked if I would be willing to conduct interviews with cast and crew to accompany each episode as it rolled out. So that's what I've been doing for the last almost 3 months now. And we finally got to episode 12, which has never been seen. We showed it once at a theater as in a special event, but has never been.
I remember that.
Well, you were in August Osage County.
Yeah, I was busy. I couldn't get off rehearsal, so.
You missed Joel's proposal to Kelsey.
I know.
That was better than the whole show.
I think someone videotaped it though, and I think I got to see it. So
yeah. I think it was Joel's brother Jerry videotaped it. So this is the world video premiere of episode 12.
Awesome.
And you played the character of Catherine Cat Kavanaugh, Billy's mother.
Yeah.
You were in the first couple of episodes, and then you popped in here and there. But really, episode 11, 12, and 13, really 12 and 13, were really your big scenes. But before we do that, I want to jump back to the very first thing you filmed for Upstaged. Do you remember what it was?
I think I needed.
It was very cold.
I needed a parka that day, and no, I joke about that. It was cold, and I watched it again recently just to kind of recap and remind myself of it all. And I look cold. Kind of like, but it was so much fun. It was just, and it was our little town, Crystal Lake, and the little cafe that used to be there, and just a great group of people. So it was cold, but it was fun.
That was actually the very first thing we ever filmed for Upstage. And for everybody who may not know, it was episode 1, the lunch meeting between Billy and Kat. And we shot it at that little cafe that was across from the Rao Theater in Crystal Lake. And I think it was November 10th, and it was a nice sunny day, but it was about 28 degrees outside. And it's supposed to be this lovely fall day.
Yeah.
You and Billy having lunch, and you're wearing a jean jacket and
outside enjoying the nice cool fall weather.
Ice cold. And Victoria Ross did such a good job of setting up all of the table and everything to make it look. But I remember after we filmed that, between takes, we'd all have to go sit in our cars with the heat running to try and get some circulation.
Our makeshift trailers.
Yeah.
To get warm.
Try and get some circulation back into our extremities.
That was fun.
Yeah, so that was fun. And then I think we also filmed at that little restaurant on Route 14 in Crystal Lake that's no longer there. It seems like every location we shot at that was not the Woodstock Opera House
closed down.
It's gone. Yeah. And that was where you came up with my favorite Kat Kavanaugh line. These are real.
I was just thrilled that I was allowed to, it came to me the day before. I think I was reading it, and I just started laughing out loud because I so often embarrass Billy.
Right.
I would say things that make him throw up a little bit in his mouth. So I thought, this this restaurant. People are watching. There's a,
Oh yeah, and that
and
was,
I held on to him for a while too.
you did. It was, it was the perfect amount of awkward, is what I'll say, and that's what we were going for.
Good.
But
That was fun.
Yeah, I always love it when I'm in a show because I never think that I'm the be all and end all of what's funny and what's going to work, So I love it when actors feel empowered enough to bring out stuff like that, and it made the scene much funnier, made the episode much funnier. But and then later on, you come back in a very funny scene with Billy Sager as Michael Perdue and Billy Kavanaugh, Joel Bennett, where you basically come to the rescue as the cavalry.
Yeah.
And that scene is another just amazing performance by you.
Oh God, thank you.
How much of Kat is in Shannon, and how much of Shannon was in Kat?
I think we're the same person. No, I think she's. That's a good question because I
wish I would have sent it to you beforehand.
Yeah, this is one of those questions. No, I think as I was reading it, I was laughing out loud so much, picturing the whole thing and just, how so many things she said irritated Billy so much. And that's my goal as a mother to my own son. So in that respect, we're very much alike. I think we're pretty. She's sassy, I loved her sass.
But what I loved about that scene, and I think that scene was in episode 9, I think.
It was later.
Was the way that whole scene turns, and from comedy to Kat's very real passion for theater.
Mm-hmm.
And there's that scene where you turn out to the stage and you're talking about, what you miss about theater and everything, and then right back into comedy, and it's so flawless and so. I mean, I think we may have done that in 1 or 2 takes. But just your timing and your ability to flow from comedy to drama was
and the writing too, Mister.
Well, most of it was the writing.
I was saying someone else's words, which helped quite a bit.
Yeah, but you know what's interesting, and as I've reflected with other people on this show, is that after a while, like after the first 2 or 3 scripts, because I wrote the first 3 scripts and I sent them to Joel, and he sat on them for a while, and then he was like, "Well, we have to make this." And then we made it, and then we cast it, and by the time we got into episode 5, 6, 7, and beyond, I was really writing for the actor then.
Oh, interesting.
So you may have been reading someone else's words, but they were specifically written for you.
Oh, okay.
So if you were a different kind of actor or a different kind of person, the words would have been different. And that's what's so great about the process, is it's not just one aspect of it that makes it succeed or not succeed, but it's all that combination of the talent and the writing and Joel's cinematography and everything. And if it works, and in this case it did, it really is something special, and something I think that holds up pretty well.
Oh yeah. It was so wonderful to be a part of that process. I haven't done a lot of film work, and if I have, a couple of times I've known the people. I've been involved in it, but you guys, it was just so much fun to be part of something that good friends were working on, and that was their labor of love. To be part of that was just wonderful.
Yeah, and really an homage to the Opera House and our community
Yeah.
theater experience, which we all shared. And I think that made, oh, Marine Grill. That was the name of
Ah,
that was the name of
Rambo.
the movie. I'm sure you can catch it on Amazon Prime and
Marine Grill.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look for that.
I don't know that you can catch it anywhere,
Yeah.
but I saw it. They also had a theatrical preview. Were you there for that when they showed it?
No, and I couldn't. I think I was out of town or something, but I was
Oh, okay.
invited to it, and I was bummed that I couldn't make it.
Are you sure you just don't snub movie premieres? You just
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I snub movie premieres.
yes. Who
You
watched
even knew
both?
where I you even knew where I was the night I missed
I
the
know, I know. Oh, that was so
uh,
heartbreaking too, because there were
yeah,
several people in the cast of that show, August Osage County, who were also in Upstaged.
yeah,
But not all of them got to see it afterward. Um,
yeah,
but I think we made sure to get you a link at
yeah.
one time
Yes,
for
you
that.
did. And I was
So that brings us to episode 12,
mm-hmm.
and the work that you did in that episode with Jerry Haig, who played Billy's father, sadly passed away. Um, words just don't come easily watching you guys in that scene. You guys had such great chemistry. Um, you really believe that you had been together for a very long period of time, but you didn't really know Jerry, did you?
You know, I knew him from being at a couple parties with him and Allison, and that's about it. We didn't even really rehearse that scene. We just clicked, and I don't know if you remember what I said to you when we were done filming. I said, "There's a whole story here,"
Oh yeah,
and that's what when I watched him and listened to him and worked with him, I kept thinking, this story is going somewhere. It's not over. And I
no,
loved that potential. I loved the possibility of that. He was such a sweet, funny man.
yeah. There was, and you guys counterbalanced each other so well. Um, I mean, he was hard on the sleeve, emotion. You were more, at least in the way that I perceived it, more controlled and more of the head, and he was more of the heart.
Hmm.
But you both had those other aspects that balanced each other out too, and it was just such a pleasure
Oh,
to direct you, to watch you, and to say I was friends with both of you too. And yes, his lovely wife Allison. Um, I've worked with her as well. Most recently, we did Young Frankenstein at the Opera House, and
mhm.
she's also incredibly talented and just a wonderful, wonderful person. Um, so that
Yes,
scene
she
that
is
I'm,
incredibly talented teacher as well.
when have teachers ever made a difference in anybody's life?
I don't know.
I know teachers made a big difference in mine, but we are
Yes.
not here to talk about that.
No.
So the scene that you do, the setup, and I hope I'm not spoiling it for anybody, is Kat and Harold and Billy lived in New York, and then Billy and Harold, Jerry Haig, his father, had a falling out, and Billy left. And Kat, then there was a situation where Kat and Harold got divorced, and Kat followed Billy out to the middle of nowhere in Illinois. And talk, can you talk to me about, because that scene is very much Kat is forcing one person she loves and another person she loves who don't necessarily remember that they love each other together. Um,
Hmm.
and can you talk about that scene and how you approached that from an actor's perspective?
Um, the bottom line, and you said it a little bit earlier, is that there was a family at one point, and there was love between these three people at one point. So there's history there. And I think I was kind of playing on that you need your father's help right now, and he can help you. Don't let this moment pass, because it might walk out of the room any second. And and Harold needed Billy just as much. It's like they both needed each other, even though they're so separate right now. They don't know how much they need each other, and there's always been love.
Mm-hmm.
That never went away. There were, we made a lot of jokes about his being sick, snip snip, it's baby cancer.
Right.
But the bottom line is that they're father and son, no matter what. And I guess that's kind of what I brought to it, that you're going to see through this, and you're going to be here for each other like you've always been.
Yeah. From a writing perspective, I was really trying to approach that from the perspective of two people who are more alike than they'd like to admit, who are letting unimportant things get in the way of really important things. And I was using Kat as kind of the voice of reason, in terms of describing or clarifying what they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a point in that scene that I don't think I necessarily thought of when I was writing it, where it seemed like you channeled like real like anger, like that came from somewhere inside. Would you like to tell us about any problems you have with your own father? No, I'm just kidding.
That should have been a question you sent to me.
Yeah.
Should have run it by my agent.
Yeah. So was that just great acting, or was that tapping into? And I don't need to know any details. I just from an actor's perspective, one of the things that I like to do on these is give people who may be considering acting, maybe just starting out, some sort of like tips or helpful tools for their acting toolbox. So that's why I ask: is that just great acting, or do you tap into personal experiences and memories to deliver a performance like that?
Sometimes I do. If I can't relate to a situation, I might have to, go into my toolbox and dig something up that I can use. But in that situation, I think it built to that moment, that between the two of them, that my stubborn son and stubborn ex-husband, they were just going back and forth, and I was kind of the referee, and it just built. And finally, I just put my foot down. This is ridiculous. You need, I think in that situation, I was just able to listen to what they were saying to each other, and someone's got to put their foot down, and it's only going to be me. So,
yeah, and that was where I kind of directed Kat throughout the whole series is the family,
mm-hmm.
right? And that's where that the line where you talk about you're going to do it for me. You know what I mean? And in one sense, she's talking about so she can get some peace and quiet, but in another sense, it's because she is the glue for the family, and they're ignoring the most important piece in their family puzzle. Mm-hmm. Because they're too stubborn and selfish to think about it. And I think that in a lot of like personal relationships, I think that's something that people are afraid to say. I mean, I think that people tend to not whether they think it's egotistical or whether they think it's wrong to say, why don't you think of me? You know, like
Right.
put aside, think about what's important, and think about what's being lost here, and forget all of the stupid stuff that is taking so much room up in your headspace.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any plans for going back? I don't know what's happening to my shirt here, but it was at one point fairly pressed. Yeah, I know. That's all.
That's all adjust.
Wardrobe. Do you have any plans for anything on the horizon? Any performances? Any shows?
Well, I was in a production of with William Street Repertory at the Row called Native Garden.
Yes.
And we were a week. We were just entering into Tech Week, and we were stopped.
Ugh.
And I was so upset. Not just because we weren't going to be able to do the show, but I had just finally felt comfortable with my lines. And I was like, are you kidding me?
Right. You put so much work. I mean, people go to a show and they see you on stage, and still one of the finest performances I've ever seen in any kind of theater was your performance in Death of a Salesman.
Oh, thank you.
You put all that work in, and then you don't get to do it.
Yeah.
And that's a story that was repeated thousands of times across the country. You know, people work for 8 weeks developing characters, memorizing script, memorizing blocking, building sets, figuring out light plots, and then
so many people
in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, just like that. But we're hopeful that it will we'll be able to bring it back. We've been told possibly January. I don't know. I'm keeping my fingers crossed because it's a fun play, but we all need to be safe. You know, the actors also need to be safe. So
did that come out of the lab reading series, or is that a previously published?
No, that's been produced.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I know they do a lot of those lab series. I don't know if they still do them or not, but
I think they're on hold right now.
Yeah,
they were doing it up until the quarantine, but it's on hold.
But they've gotten some pretty great playwrights and material from that too.
Yeah, they've actually produced a few of them, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I'm sure for the artist who get to bring it to life, and for the writer who gets to see a professional company put on their work, it's pretty cool stuff.
Very exciting, definitely.
They'd like to do Upstaged the musical.
Oh no, that's another layer I'm not sure I want.
Well, you could have a non-singing part.
Thank you. Just put a lot of dancers around me and
exactly. You'll just be the diva who comes in on like the platform and
just poses, you know.
Yes, just poses and then leaves again till the next dramatic scene.
Yes, I like that.
Well, thank you very much, Shannon, for joining us today.
Oh, my pleasure.
I'm so blessed that you were part of this production and that I've gotten to know you personally. You really are a fantastic performer and just as fantastic of a person. So it really was an honor and a privilege and a pleasure to have you to be part of our project.
Thank you so much. Thank you for asking me. I loved every second, and I adore you. So this is an easy choice to say. And Joel.
And Joel is number 2.
No, that's not what I said. Cut. Yeah.
Shannon, we may have to edit this part.
No, but really, it was such a pleasure working with you, and I'm thrilled that you asked me to do it. So.
Well, hopefully, when all this is over, there will be more stuff that we get to work on together.
I hope so. I know that will happen.
Yes, and in the meantime, take care. Enjoy your wonderful family, your lovely son George Bailey, named after both of our favorite movie, It's a
Yep.
Wonderful Life.
Yep.
And your husband, John, and your wonderful puppy,
Finn.
Okay. So, yeah. So you guys all take care of each other, love each other, be kind. Everybody out there, be kind. We're all going through hell together.
Yep.
And we will see you all next week for the final episode of Backstage, the series.
All right.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye. Bye.